Hello, I'm Spencer Hammonds, and I'm one of the executive architects here at NetApp. In this video, me and my team are going to be telling you about a series of workshops that we do called Cloud Design Workshops. We've done over 1,000 of these in the past several years, and we have influenced over $1 billion in sales. Yes, that's B with a billion. These are customer-facing workshops where we use their data to help them decide and determine how their digital transformation and cloud strategy is going to be. You may have heard these workshops called service design workshops or architecture and design workshops, but regardless of what you call it, the Cloud Design Workshop is there for you, your customers, and our partners.
Hi, I'm Steve Castillo, one of the executive architects on the Cloud Design Workshop team. The Cloud Design Workshop is offered as a pre-sales offering at no charge to our customers or to our partners. And yes, I did say partner. We encourage our partners to work with our team here at NetApp and our shared customers as we go through the Cloud Design Workshop. The intelligence we gather, the sponsorship we encourage, and the breadth of information we share with the customers is not only beneficial in helping you sell the entire NetApp portfolio, but also in expanding these opportunities to other sectors of the partner's business, compute, network, and additional professional services.
What kind of improvements in the sales cycle do our NetApp account teams and partners see out of one of these workshops? Our tracking data shows that we improve deal closure by 6 to 8 weeks, and that engagement increases cumulative deal size by over $1 million as measured over an 18-month window. And yes, this includes accounts of all types, not just global and enterprise accounts. The reduction in sales cycle time and significant increase in overall sales bookings includes public sector accounts such as state and local governments, universities, public utility companies, healthcare, and even significant numbers of Department of Defense and other federal agencies. How do we do that with a pre-sales engagement that costs our customers nothing? Well, our small team consists of business leaders, former CIOs, and CTOs, people who know how to have C-level conversations and tie those conversations with the customer's own data to create a compelling vision of what can be.
You will note that we said the pre-sales cloud design workshops are at no charge, but we did not say that these engagements are free. That is a small but important distinction. For the workshop to be successful, the NetApp sales team, the partner, and the customer must all commit varying amounts of time for the process to be successful. We'll talk about these time commitments here in a moment, but first, we need to discuss what makes a customer a good candidate for one of these workshops.
Although the name of this process is a Cloud Design Workshop, that doesn't mean that the perfect customer is one that's looking to go all in to AWS or to Azure. For our team, the term cloud refers just as much to the private cloud as it does to the public cloud. When we first started this process, we said that a customer should be looking to act like a service provider. And this is still true. If a customer is doing the same thing that they've always done, delivering compute and storage manually for every request, but they want to change the way that they operate to be more aligned with the business unit's expectations, then that's a good customer to target. Another good target is one that has on-premises storage and compute and is looking to move some of their workloads to the public cloud, but they're really struggling with the methodologies and the data that will back up those decisions and to determine what are the right cloud resources to procure to maintain the all-important end user experience.
When thinking of the customers that you want to target, there is one final critical success factor. Because the end result will be some form of digital transformation to the customer's business, it's critical that you obtain the appropriate level of executive sponsorship. Typically, we're looking for a VP or director of infrastructure, or maybe even cloud, someone who has the internal clout and the purview to drive a project of this scale. This will require the account team to look well above the storage manager when you're trying to identify this level of sponsorship.
I know your next question is about those time commitments mentioned earlier. Here's a timeline of the typical process, illustrating the level of effort for the various stakeholders. Whether you are a NetApp sales team or one of our partners, if you suspect you have a good candidate for a workshop, we're going to ask you to create an opportunity and have the NetApp solutions engineer or account executive open a resource request. A resource request can also be opened by a technical partner manager like myself. That allows our team to begin tracking activity related to that specific customer. Once this resource request is open, our team will assign an architect to the engagement, and we will request an internal meeting. This invitation list must include the NetApp and partner sales teams comprised of the following: the account executives, the solutions engineers and architects, the service account executive, and the public cloud services teams assigned to the account. On this short, typically 30-minute call, we will want to share what everyone knows about the account, identify strategic imperatives for the customer success, and identify the desired outcomes.
The next step is very important. So if you're doing some online shopping right now, I'm going to ask you to hold off and really listen to this. Whether you're a NetApper or if you work for a partner, please don't try to sell the idea of the workshop to the customer yourselves. Our experience shows that when sales teams try to convince a customer to do a workshop, the uptake rate and the acceptance rate is less than 25%. To overcome this, the architect working on your account will request that you set up a 45-minute to 1-hour call with the customer's executive sponsor, where we will walk through the process, show examples of the outcomes, and allow the architect to have some time to build rapport with the sponsor. This way, at the end of the overview, when we make the ask for the 8 hours of the customer's time, the sponsor knows we aren't going to give them an 8-hour sales pitch. We aren't showing up and handing the customer a report. We are sharing information based on the data gathered from their environment. It's personal. To attain the greatest value, participation and interaction during the workshop is expected. This will be 8 hours of collaboration between all of us, hence the reason we call it a workshop.
A cloud design workshop relies upon data to design vendor-agnostic service levels. We use Cloud Insights to measure and monitor a customer's environment, regardless of whether they operate on-premise, in a co-location, or within the public cloud. We ask your customer to provision a moderate virtual machine and to register for a trial CI license. Then, one of our remote engineers walks each customer through the installation steps to connect that VM to Cloud Insights. The engineer will also configure a data collector for each heterogeneous compute, storage, and networking asset, all without the need for agents. This process typically takes about 60 to 90 minutes to complete, and each customer is encouraged to experiment with that fully functional CI tenant throughout the workshop process. Once operational, we target between 14 and 30 days worth of customer metadata. This ensures that we have a sufficient data set to identify peaks, valleys, and normal behavioral patterns. If possible, we also encourage data capture during peak hot periods, such as a month-end closeout process. Finally, we use that metadata to prescribe service levels unique to each customer's use case. It is common for customers to have some security concerns when we talk about collecting their data, regardless of whether they are a Fortune 100 company or if they operate within US public sector. If this comes up during our intro call, we have a security FAQ to directly address such concerns. We also have sanitized workshop examples demonstrating the type of data being collected and how we use it during a workshop. Cloud Insights never accesses nor reads file-level details. It only captures performance and capacity metadata, such as volume and LUN names, storage disk types, virtual machine resource utilization, and other metrics related to a customer's environment. Other customers, again the federal government, place further restrictions on data aggregation. A single IP address or a fully qualified domain name are not in and of themselves classified. However, the aggregation of numerous IPs may cross the line from unclassified to sensitive and/or confidential. For these customers, we have integrated an additional feature to further scrub this information from our Cloud Insights reports used during a workshop. If a CISO or security office still prevents us from using Cloud Insights, don't fret. On-Command Insight still remains an option for such customers, specifically those with highly classified environments or those with standing mandates preventing the use of public cloud resources. We have successfully delivered over 1,100 workshops over the last 7 years, with customers ranging from small universities to large global organizations and even the US military. Throughout this time, less than a dozen customers have elected not to pursue our workshop due to ongoing security concerns. Talk with your executive architect about any customer's needs, and we will do our best to meet and address all of those concerns.
Once we've started data collection, we don't typically need much from the customer. But once we know the data is collecting accurately, then we can schedule our 6 to 8 hours of working session time with the customer. That duration is dependent on which modules we plan to deliver: storage, compute, or maybe even data protection. When we ran these workshops face-to-face or on-prem, we typically did it in 2 4-hour sessions on subsequent days. Now that we do them remotely, we can break them up into manageable chunks, but we try to keep them at a minimum of 2 hours each. Once the data is fully collected, it typically takes the assigned architect about a day or so to analyze the data and prepare for the final presentation to the customer.
When it comes time to deliver the workshop, the agenda has details of the type of personnel expected to participate in each section. For example, we know that we aren't typically going to get a CIO, CTO, or Vice President of IT to attend all 8 hours of the workshop, although that is becoming more common now that we are doing these remotely. Therefore, we only ask the executive sponsor to be present for the first hour and last hour of the workshop. Other team members that are typical attendees are storage and compute infrastructure managers and their team members, service owners, enterprise architects, IT operations leaders, and IT financial metrics owners. In other words, those who may get a cloud spend bill.
When we wrap up the workshop, the customer will be provided with all of the data that was collected, analyzed, and presented during the workshop. They'll also be presented with a series of recommendations that were developed collaboratively between the NetApp team, the partner, and the customers. One of our longstanding principles on our team has been that we wanted to help teach the customer to fish. We find that the best way to do that is to provide all of the information that was used during the workshop so that it can become the basis as the customer continues their digital transformation.
As we near the end of this video, I hope that you're already thinking about which customers can benefit from our cloud design workshop and how you can individually benefit by moving towards being that trusted advisor we all strive for. If you have any questions, you can email me directly or the entire service design team at the email addresses on the screen. We're happy to answer any questions you may have. Happy selling, and go get 'em.